So you have a discussion up. I'll just click this. So this is what I'm going to give the lecture on today. What I'm going to talk about is, I'm going to talk about diversity and diverse perspectives in the media, but I'm also going to show you some links about how hate crimes are being documented with increasing frequency on social media. So the question is, for this discussion is, do you think that hate crimes are actually on the rise, or do you think because we have technology and the way information is being shared that's why we're hearing more about it? So I'm going to show you some links to give you some background as well. So let's just start with the PowerPoint here. It'll open up. Okay. So this is a general, yes. Okay. So this is a PowerPoint that just gives some information on how people of do you, in your networks, do you have a variety of viewpoints? Because there's often this phrase that sometimes we're preaching to the choir, or many people that we may be friends with in our social circles may think just like us. Maybe that's true for you, maybe it's not. But so this is some research by Pew Research, and so just talking about types of content people are getting and also who's in their circles. So one interesting fact they found is that more than a third of social media users are worn out by the amount of political content they encounter. So would you raise your hand if you think you get worn out by how much political content you're encountering? You know, even I do too, because there's some times where, there's a lot of that going on right now. So 37% are worn out, 20% say they like it, 41% don't feel strongly or the other, right? It's important to be informed, but sometimes people get more information than they want. So now this next slide relates to how much you might agree with people in your own circles or networks. So 23% of Facebook users and 17% of Twitter users say most of the people in their networks hold political beliefs similar to theirs. So that's actually, does that number surprise anybody? Do you think it would have been higher or lower? Higher. I would think so too. I would probably say, to be honest, like my network, probably it's much higher, right? Again, that idea that many of us are friends with people who maybe have similar interests or even values to ours. So this was interesting because it was a study and they showed actually that was lower. And another thing is that even though it seems like people are talking about it all the time, but 19% of Facebook users and 37% of Twitter users say they don't even know the political beliefs. So I guess it depends what you post about and who you follow, but it's not a big issue for everybody. Okay, and this is a stat that shows the mix of Facebook users and Twitter users that have a variety of political beliefs. So again, 23 and 17 similar beliefs. 53% of Facebook users say their networks have a mix of beliefs, and 39% Twitter. So maybe we are friends or have people in our networks that there is a diversity of opinions and thought. But this is an interesting question. The idea is like, does social media encourage people to say things online that they would never say to a person to their face? What do you guys think? Do you think it does? Yeah, right. So that we know this. This is why some news organizations actually stopped allowing comments. So depending on what news sources you read, some you might see a lot of comments. So in my career, I've published a lot for The Hill. I've written a lot of political commentary for them, and there's all sorts of comments, some that are quite rude, never threatening, but borderline even. So that's the idea of like people can comment. They don't have to be using a real name, or they could be using a pseudonym, or just have a silly name, not really their name, and people feel like, hey, they can say whatever they want because there's no accountability. So that's the idea online. So for that reason, actually, some news organizations have stopped allowing comments. So CNN, I had some guests from CNN for my journalism class last week, and they said on their website they don't allow comments, but a site like The Hill actually allows comments. So that's the idea. And there was, and actually it's an interesting article I saw a few weeks ago. Greta Thunberg went to the UK, and of course there's people who love her, there's people who hate her, let's be honest. And some of these people, even though she is a minor, right, she's a teenager, she's not even 18 yet, some people say horrible things about her on the internet, right? In part because they think, oh, you know, who's going to pay attention? But this one newspaper in the UK, they took the user profiles and they actually did an article where they posted the name of the person, the picture of the person, and the horrible comment they made about Greta. They actually put that in the newspaper. What do you guys think? Is that fair? Is that going too far? What do you think? Anybody? It's public, right? Some people might say it's going too far, but you also have to remember, like, what you post online, even if it's a private Instagram, the assumption is it's public. Yes?
I think it's because it holds people accountable for what they say.
Right. It's that thing. So I thought that was really interesting. I'd never heard of a news organization quite doing that, like turning the tables or putting the mirror back on the trolls to hold them accountable, right? Because ultimately, we are accountable for what we say. We're all adults. And so here you had these adults saying very hateful, misogynistic, even violent things about this teenager. So the newspaper called them out. And they probably also called them out more because even though she's a public figure, she's a teenager, right? So she's particularly, I mean, she's a minor. So I think that also may have played into like why they called these adults out for harassing and threatening her. And also related, posting offensive content is one of the main reasons people block or remove others from their feeds because of politics. So we had, has anybody ever, just raise your hand if you have either blocked, removed, or even hit pause on someone who was just going too far for politics? Yeah, I did the other day. There was this woman, and I was just like, I can't believe she said that. So I didn't want to unfriend her, so I muted her for 30 days on Facebook because I was like, I can't believe she said that. So I think many of us have, and that's a solution too. Like, if you're using Facebook, you can unfollow someone, but Facebook allows you to mute someone for 30 days, so you can take a little time out from them if they're really annoying you, right? Because in most platforms, when you're not following people anymore, they know. And so that can be socially awkward. Like, how are you gonna explain that? So I do like that mute function where they don't know that I've silenced them because they're annoying me. All right, so 39% of people change settings to see if you were post or blocked or unfriended someone. And the upside is that a majority of users feel social media can help to get people involved with issues they care about. So, and bring new voices, people who don't feel represented or issues that they think aren't being paid attention to, they can get them into the spotlight. So that was all from Pew Research.